You can get a little closer and come up closer a little bit, please.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Hi, I'm Tess.
Hi, Tess.
Okay, raise your hand if you have ever heard the phrase, everything happens for a reason. Okay, keep your hand raised if you sort of believe in this. Okay. I think a lot of us like to think that everything that happens in our lives, whether it's the good things or the most traumatic, happen because of some underlying order of life that determines how certain events will play out. I'm definitely guilty of thinking in this way, and I feel like I'm always trying to make sense of things that happen to me by explaining them as all part of my life path. But I've realized in the past few years that thinking in this way can be really limiting when it comes to pursuing our dreams and fighting for what we want in life. Today I'm going to share with you my personal commitment to being the driver of my own life. I will share with you 2 reasons and 3 actions that I have taken to fulfill my personal commitment. I think most of us in this room can agree that we're at a time in our lives where there's a lot of pressures, either from our parents or just from society's expectations of us, where sometimes we feel like we don't know where to go. But I hope that my stories show all of you that although we have so many outside pressures on us right now, that at the end of the day, we are ultimately the ones that should be directing our lives. The first story that I will share with you is one about my cousin, and he really is a big inspiration in my life. When my cousin turned about 13 or 14, he started getting involved in a really bad crowd, and my family thought that this was just sort of a phase that he would grow out of, but by the time he reached the end of high school, he wasn't off to college, but he was actually going to rehab for his drug addiction, and this seemed like a never-ending process for the next few years. He was in and out of rehab and halfway houses, and it just didn't seem like it was ever going to end. And I think the lowest point of this whole thing was one day I came home from school and I saw my aunt and my mom in the kitchen, and I just immediately knew something was really wrong. And I ended up finding out that my cousin had broken into my grandparents' house and my house and ripped through every room and stole valuables that he could use to fund his drug addiction once again. At this point, I lost all faith in my cousin, not only as a person, but a family member that I once loved and looked up to, So having this experience just really made me question a lot of things. But at this point in the story, I can tell you some really good news that 2 years ago, he decided that he was going to make a really big change, and he got clean. And now he has his first stable job, a girlfriend, who's been to our past Christmas and Thanksgiving dinners, and it's just really amazing that he was so far down a really, really bad path, and he had the courage to turn around and go down a new one, and he really made me feel like I can take control of my life, and we can all take control of our lives no matter how far down we are in the wrong direction. The second reason why I'm personally committed to being the driver of my own life is because I've had to take on the financial responsibility of supporting myself in college. I didn't realize when I was a senior in high school that when I chose to come to UCLA, I would have to be paying for the majority of my tuition. So I'm spending pretty much everything that I have ever made and what I'm making now on my education. And doing this has been one of the most stressful experiences of my life, but also one of the most rewarding. I've always been really independent, but it wasn't until I got here that I realized how in control I am of my life and of my future. Even though my situation may not be ideal, I have gained a self-confidence that I never thought I would be able to achieve, and I truly feel like I have the power to control what I'm going to do with my life. Now I'll share with you 3 actions that I have taken that demonstrate my personal commitment to being the driver of my own life. The first action I've taken is deciding to strengthen the relationship that I have with one of my brothers. We're only a year apart, and so when we were younger, we had a lot to fight about, but now I'm beginning to realize that because we're so close in age, that we are going through a very similar stage in our lives, and that we actually have a lot in common and a lot to talk about. So I've been making the conscious effort to reach out to him and let him know that I want to be involved in his life as much as possible. And now it's just really nice to get a phone call from him every now and then and catch up and give each other life advice. And it's something I'm really proud of. So My second action is networking with people at home in New York so that I could set up some steady jobs out here. Last year I worked at a clothing store and it just wasn't sustainable to support myself here. So I ended up, through a lot of communication, emails, phone calls, texts, networking with a lot of people that I nanny for at home and getting set up with a bunch of amazing families out here that are awesome and accommodating because I don't have a car. And now this year I'm just a lot better off in terms of supporting myself. The third action that I've taken to demonstrate my personal commitment is I decided to take the rest of this year to study abroad. And I'm a really impulsive person. When I get an idea, I just want to do it right then. So my freshman year, I decided I was going to study abroad my whole sophomore year. And my family and friends were like, no, you're crazy, don't do it. And I ended up backing down. But now it's my fall quarter, and I'm still having the same feelings, but stronger. So I decided I know what's best for myself in terms of how I'm going to make the most of my experiences. So starting in the winter, I'm going to go abroad. In summary, I have showed you 2 reasons and 3 actions that I have taken to fulfill my personal commitment of being the driver of my own life. Between my cousin showing me that it's possible to completely change your life around, to my responsibility of financially supporting myself in college, I have learned that our lives are nobody else's but our own, and we really do have the ability to decide what we want to do with them. Whether it is making the semi-impulsive decision to study abroad or deciding to strengthen relationships with family members, we really are in control. There should be no doubt in this room that I am personally committed to being the driver of my own life, and maybe we can still believe that everything happens for a reason, but I think it is so important to realize that we're not just given lives to exist in, but rather we need to go out there and fight for what we want and what we deserve in life, because nobody's just going to give us things, and we're not going to get things handed to us.
Thank you. We're somewhere over here. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Polly.
Hi, Pauline.
I really liked your speech. As the professor said last time, I think too that you're a pretty likable speaker, and you're smiling, and everybody can get sing, and your stories were compelling, so it was good.
Thank you, Pauline. Yes, please.
Hi, I'm Arzu.
Hi, Arzu.
I liked your speech as well. The only criticism I can think of is to live more with purpose rather than being a little bouncy.
Okay.
Yeah, you move on the 3 points and they call attention to your points. Is good. You can have a seat. Thank you for waiting respectfully outside. Yeah, I think that even though it's a cliche, everything happens for a reason. It did illustrate a point you wanted to make, which was, do we just mellow along and let life happen to us, or do we exercise our free will and make life happen? And I think you were of the latter, of saying you have to make life happen, right? So I like your beginning, and yeah, it was a little wordy, your intro, but you got your point across, I think. On your first reason of being the driver of your own life, you told the story of your cousin, and it was an interesting story, well told, and I think that the fact that he was, drug addicted and stole from your parents and your grandparents and your house and so forth, but yet you had a happy ending at the end. He turned it around, and a little moral of the story at the end of people have the power to change, and to just demonstrates that if you're going to become the master of your fate and the captain of your soul, even in drug addicted circumstances, you can do it. On the second story you told, a surprising, personal, admirable thing of paying your own way, your own tuition. You have some help from, I guess you said, scholarships and loans, but Yeah. That was a self-revealing thing, and it showed that, it's self-respecting to be able to be independent and not have to rely on others to book your own action, shall we say. So that was a good story that was consistent with your thesis. On your actions, getting in touch with your brother, I wasn't quite sure exactly about the link. I know in here you had stuff about the divorce and stuff. I wasn't sure about how you drew the
wanted
link.
to cut it down because I realized I was
You're
going to
running out of
elaborate on my
time,
actions, but that probably would have made it more clear.
Yeah. Okay. And your second actions about the family, that made sense, about networking and getting a better job. And then the studying abroad was good. I can tell you, everybody I've known that I've sent, including my own children, have changed for the positive having gone abroad. It's a very positive thing to do. It's you won't regret it. You did skip how I feel after your actions. So everyone, put a big asterisk on your script. Put that in. It's there on the prompt. Your summary, your conclusion, and tieback were all fine. Stay focused and engage with the argument. Move around the room and try to be more relaxed. How'd it go?
I didn't stumble, which I did last time and I was really mad about. So
Yeah.
I moved. When I was practicing, I feel like I was moving a lot instead
Yeah.
of just moving 3 times. So
Yeah.
then up here is kind of moving a lot.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a bad thing or it's.
Yeah, you want to move purposefully on the 3 points,
Yeah.
and we'll leave it at that,
Okay.
and so that it doesn't appear that you're pacing. So I'd leave it at that. But overall, you did a good job. Thank you. Okay, next. It's our timeline. Yeah. I'm always late to my next class. Is this Miriam? Yeah, Miriam. Hi, Miriam.
Hi.
How you doing?
Okay.
Is this the last one?
Yes.
Praise the Lord. Where are your goals? There are your goals. Okay, got it. Okay, she's managing attention, communicating respect, finding friendly eyes near the front and the center. Say your name, feel the love. Start your speech.
Hi everyone, my name's Miriam.
Hi, Miriam.
When was the last time that you truly did something that you enjoyed? Like seriously, when was the last time you did something, not because you had to do it, but because you wanted to do it? Recently, I've been thinking a lot about the things that I do, and because we had such a long summer, it was 4 months, I had a lot of time to think about it, and you see, thinking can be really bad for you. It can be depressing, and it can just really mess up with your mind. That is why when I was during the summer, I was really sad, and I was just really negative about everything in my life. And that is why I decided to do a personal commitment where I put more life into my life. In other words, what I'm trying to do is live a life that deals with doing meaningful things and also doing things that I truly enjoy. So I will tell you 2 reasons why I'm doing this and 3 actions that I have done so far to accomplish this. The first reason why I've done this is because I suddenly realized, it sounds a little silly, but I suddenly realized that my parents are aging. And as dumb as it sounds, when you're a kid, you dismiss the fact that your parents are getting older. And not too long ago, I clearly remember thinking about how overwhelmed and consumed I was by the fact that so many things were going wrong in my life. My mother was in the hospital, she had to get dialysis for her kidneys, and then my dad had no job, and I was struggling in school trying to get into a good school, trying to go to a university. And I was not enjoying my life. I was not enjoying the fact that I had precious times with my parents and that they were there for me. That is why, after thinking a lot about this personal commitment, I realized that whenever I look at my parents, I see their dreams, I see the wrinkles in their eyes, and I see their hardworking hands, and I don't know why I'm getting so emotional about this, but it's because next thing you know, your parents won't be there, and that is just a really sad thing that I don't want to think about. And that is why, after thinking so much about this, because I had such a long summer, I came to, I don't want to waste my life thinking about things that already happened or things that might happen in the future. And my second story deals with wanting to make a difference around the people that surround me. When I was smaller or younger, I didn't necessarily have an outlet to express myself until I found photography. And for me, photography has truly been a medium where I find self-expression that not only helps me be more open-minded, but also other people. And then I suddenly thought about it and I realized that this could also help other people. This could ultimately help other people. And as Gandhi said, be the change you want to see in the world. And my goal is to ultimately use photography to change the way other people think and to actually help other people realize the importance in their life. And now I will tell you 3 actions that I have taken to accomplish this goal. And one, that is to enjoy every little moment. I sit with my parents to eat. I take them to the movies. I eat chocolate with them like they're crazy because I'm just obsessed with chocolate. And then I even speak to them as if they were like my homegirls, you know, like I try to have a full conversation with them. And the second thing I have done is be more, choose happiness now and always. And by that I mean I read a lot more, I keep my mind stimulated, and I always try to choose happiness whenever there's something going on wrong with me. And lastly, my third action that I've been doing is being more adventurous, and I do this by being in the Daily Bruin. And as a photojournalist of the Daily Bruin, they give me assignments where I do things that are out of my comfort zone, but this is something that makes it really valuable because not only do I create valuable and meaningful pictures that help me, but also help other people that might see themselves in this other person who has accomplished something. Overall, I have told you 2 reasons and 3 ways which I have made to accomplish this goal. And I want to be a better person. And the meaning of better, I still don't know what it is. But after doing this personal thing, I feel much more fulfilled and happy. And with this, I hope that you take it with you and you analyze every single action that you do each and every day, and you give your life another full dose of life. Thank you.
Thank you. 5:10. Thank you for respectfully waiting outside. Okay, yeah.
My name is Christine.
Hi, Christine.
I thought your speech was really good. You were very engaging, and I think you were looking around the audience, and I think you had a lot of meaning to your stories. And obviously, it was very genuine. You had a lot of emotions up there, but I think that just goes along with, I think, the of yourselves.
Mm-hmm. Improvement.
I don't know, I really liked it. I know you were tearing up there, but I thought it was so authentic, and I thought you recovered really well. I don't really know what to tell you to improve on. Maybe balance in the stories, your first story, but that's because you got emotional. That's why. That's why you're on that one longer, but I guess balance.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk about that first story and walk. You'll recall I used the metaphor of walking the razor's edge, right, for balance for the film speech of not falling off and being either excessively emotional or excessively rational and having no passion or no emotions. And I thought you had a good balance. I thought you walked the razor's edge right through that emotions. You were about to fall off, but you kept it going, and so that was good. Miriam, let's talk about your speech. You started with a rhetorical question, and you made an allusion to the long summer that we all had, so everyone could relate to that, I suppose. You had a little trouble sort of defining your PC and getting a phrase or word for it, and I think that hurt you a little. Life to its fullest, life into life. You had different ways you defined it. We all kind of knew what you meant, I guess. Your first story was that you look at your parents, you see the wrinkles in their faces, you saw that they're aging, you suddenly realize they're not going to be here forever, and that suddenly you realize that you better savor the time with them because they're not getting any younger and soon they will be gone. Nothing is forever. And that realization that everyone has at different times in their lives jolts most people into being a little bit more respectful and appreciative of their parents. And it did for you, and it was a very well-told story and a very touching. I felt that you had the audience with you in a very effective way, and it suggested it was supportive of your thesis of being a more sensitive and loving person. On your second story of helping the people around you, you talked about photography, and then you quoted Gandhi. I wish you had given us some specifics in there. That was a little vague or a little better story than just quoting Gandhi. I guess you got to it with your daily brewing thing in the third story, and you used up every second of your time, so you didn't have any time left over. Your actions were consistent with your PC. You mentioned your parents, you mentioned reading more, and you mentioned working at the Daily Bruin. So your summary, conclusion, and tieback were good. You wanted to project your voice louder, be clear, move around the room, control your body action, not swing from side to side. How'd it go?
Yeah, I think I did well. I think I didn't swing so much because last week I was like swinging.
You saw that on YouTube, huh?
Yeah, and then also I felt like my movements were noticeable because most of the time I'm only like making a little step, but this time I was actually like moving.
Making purposeful movement from side to side. Okay, good. Well, I think you did a good job today. I think you got the job done. You shared with us something personal and private about your life, and that was important. That was the assignment. Thank you. Okay, our work is done for the day. Return